The trophy's on the road now. What are you hoping is going to be achieved by this tour over the next 100 days?
Just a lot of inspiration, a lot of access, a lot of allowing people to feed from the values of the game as well. It's part of the inspiration, but I've seen that thing a lot. And I've picked it up and I've won it and I've fought for it a few times, and yet even still being around it brings a special buzz. It represents not just the tournament and its shiny kind of metal thing that you get to pick up, and it's special for that reason, but what it represents and embodies is every minute of every game that people fight for. They spend their lives preparing for doing whatever it takes to try and just be near enough to that, to get to a final, to be able to pick it up and say I did it, and that thing embodies that. It's been picked up by a few guys who deserve to pick it up and have done everything they can, and you can feel that energy within it. And so take it round, let people understand those values about this sport and why it's such a great sport and why this tournament's going to be such a good tournament. So yeah, I think that's a key part of it, but along with the trophy there'll be the festival side of the rugby as well, people getting to engage in events and experiences, and if that's playing the game, learning about the game, understanding it, then even better.
A lot of people have talked about emulating the tour of the Olympic torch. Do you think you can do something that significant that people genuinely would get excited across the UK and Ireland?
Yeah, do you know what? I don't think it's a comparison type thing. The torch of the Olympics has obviously got its own story, and probably it's not. Yeah, it's a little different to this. Obviously, the Olympics is a bit of a bigger thing with the torch, that side of things. So yeah, that's always had its place, but I don't think it's trying to emulate anything in terms of it's just literally saying, look, in a way, the rugby values is that it's accessible. Rugby as a sport is accessible to everyone, for everyone, and to everyone. It's something that people can join in, whatever level. This is a great thing about rugby, is that, okay, you're this shape and this size, there's your role, perfect. If you're this size, you're a thinker, you're a bit slower, but you're a real thinker, you're perfect for that. If you're quicker and you don't really care about that, you just want to run, here you go and do this. If you're, whatever it is, male, female, anything, you've got a place there to add something, and that's the whole point of this, is that we're trying to get it to people to understand that you're not discounted. If you're older, if you're this, if you used to do this, if you're not sure about this, it doesn't matter. The fact is it's open to everyone. The experience is because it's one big team. And I think that's maybe the more overriding part of this, is that value system there, which says that we all want the same thing. We want great games, we want people to play hard, win hard, but we're there to respect each other as one big team is what the tour's really about for me.
You mentioned that you're one of the guys who was lucky enough to pick that trophy up. How then do you assess the current England team? Do you think honestly they can win?
Yeah, I do. I do. I've been sort of harping on about that a little bit, saying, yeah, of course they can win, because I've seen what they're capable of and I've seen how they played the game, and from my knowledge of how rugby's played, which I'd like to think is relatively sort of specialist, I see what you need to win. I see it in this team. I see the build-up. I see the make-up of a World Cup winning team. Now they're racing against time a little bit for sure. You would have said, look, would we preferred a bit more time? Yeah, maybe we would have done, but then I think every team would prefer just a little bit longer. Saying that though, I sort of recently just thought about the other way and thought, well, would I be prepared to stand here and say at any point that England won't win this? And I can't say that, because honestly, if I was playing against England, or if any team was playing against England, if someone said, well, England aren't going to win this, are they? I'd be like, they could, and if it's even the biggest game against the biggest favourites, if it's New Zealand, I'd be like, well, they could. They almost did it in the autumn. They almost did it last summer. Yeah, if any team's going to do it, it probably is going to be England, and that's why I think now I'm getting even more excited about it, because they've got even more time to build now and stick together in their home country with this home support behind them.
Mind you, the Six Nations obviously didn't create optimism in terms of the World Cup, did it?
Yeah, I mean, well, in terms of that, it was the loss against Ireland which was the key. Everything else I think would be sort of pointing towards great things, but the loss against Ireland against a very good team away from home was tough to take, but that's where you get your lessons, and you get your lessons when you need them, not when you want them, and it doesn't always come in the shape of what you actually desire. It comes in the shape of what you really need, and that England team needed that lesson right now. We would have loved to have that whole kind of winning sweep, that clean sweep up to the World Cup, but what we got was a nice little lesson to say, right, you need to get this on board very quickly, because it's going to help, and that will be, whatever they learn from that game will become very, very important at some point during this World Cup, and they'll be glad they went through it. So I'm not worried about it. I've always been of the understanding that when you go through stuff, it's because you need it, and if you escape it, it can actually be the most damaging thing.